Hello, welcome everyone. This is Matt. I am Hand Painted Studio, and I'm very happy that everyone, if you're watching, that's awesome. I'm really excited about starting to do video tutorials. This is my very first one. If you guys like what I'm doing, please leave a comment on any of my channels, my social channels. Like me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'll be starting up a YouTube channel here shortly, and a Vimeo. So if you guys like what I'm doing here, be sure to let me know and let others know. Spread the good word. Um, I just want to give back to the community of professionals that I've learned from in the past, from video tutorials. I usually learn better that way. Reading stuff is awesome, but watching people do it, I think, really helps stick it. Uh, so, with that, thank you to everyone that's out there, um, and I'll credit you guys somewhere in my posts for my blogs, and my social media. Um, the first thing I'd like to do is say I'm not sure exactly what I wanted to do, so I started following people on LinkedIn and social medias, obviously, and I ran across this really interesting post. What's the difference between brightness and lightness? And this is on LinkedIn. There was a young man. His name is Datisargra. I'm not really good with names. Um, Sorry if I butchered that, guy. I hope you don't take any offense. Um, View this discussion really quickly. Hello, everyone. I have a question about brightness, the difference between lightness and brightness, and the same words in Photoshop. What are their application? How do the brightness and lightness? What's the difference? And I don't know if it's just like a semantics grammatical thing. I'm not a linguistic specialist or anything of that nature, but to me, brightness deals with the overall brightness of the image, like how vivid the contrast and the colors are. Lightness talks about, it looks at the entire range of hue values that are in the image, and it that doesn't flatten them out. It doesn't even them out. Like if you were looking at it as an S curve, it doesn't even those things out. Um, like if you would look at it as like an S curve, it wouldn't flatten. Um, Where'd it go? Um, it doesn't take this curve here. Holy crap, that thing is small. Um, it doesn't take that curve and flatten it. uh, the brightness doesn't take the curve and flatten it, but lightness does. Um, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. You can see that it's taking all the channels and flattening, and you can create it all the channels at the same time brighter. And I'll show you what I mean by that. The only place I can find in Photoshop that actually talks about lightness and that I remember is hue and saturation. I'm not going to delete those. Let's just delete those. Don't need to be talking about those. Let's delete this. Let's just delete them. Just start all over. Okay, so first thing you want to do, you guys, always duplicate your layer. Command J it, then save it, save as. And I always work in PSDs, and this is 16-bit file from a TIFF, from a render, from a project. So this is, here it is, carbon organic form. Um, First thing you do, go into the brightness and contrast. And I mean, if someone was asking me professionally, how do you go about processing your images? I always hit it with brightness. Uh, I want to adjust the highlights, midtones, and and dark tones, whatever those are called. Um, I want to adjust those like individually, and I want to treat them individually. And I think it will give your photo a more realistic feel. And in fact, I know it will. So you can see here, this is adjusting the highlights, and the mid ranges, and those shadows individually. Now they're all incrementally getting brighter, but exponentially the highlights are going to get brighter faster than those shadows. So, and if I do this, say if I'm working on one photo, I usually will try to get it a little bit brighter than what I really need it to. And then I go in, I do my other adjustments if I need to, with colors and stuff. So I'm gonna leave it just about here. I mean, the carbon fiber is looking a little wonky, but I'm gonna leave it. I feel like 32 would be okay. Alright, now I'm going to try to show you the difference. And I usually try to apply it directly to the layer to make sure that's not applying to this. It's just a good habit to get into, because this might have a mask on it, and you might have like masked out something, and you don't want this applying to both. You can see now it's applying to both layers. Just to fix that, now you can see that it's applying only to this layer below. If I would move this layer below this layer, you can see it breaks that line, so you have to be a little bit careful. It'll break that connection. You'll want to drag both of them in. Anyway, not a big deal, but just something from one professional to another. Make sure you keep those ALs applied directly to the layer that you're working for. And I just noticed that I did something I didn't want to do. Delete, I don't want to apply it, and then delete this layer. No reason to create a bigger file than I needed. Okay, so the brightness channel overall incrementally brightens your photo, and I think it produces really good quality effect if you need overall brightness for the image that's obviously too dark. Secondly, let's talk about lightness. Again, the only place I could find that here that would be really talking about, I think, what he's trying to get at is like lightening the photo. So if we turn this off, you'll see that now we're on here. Go over here to the properties panel, and you can see that you have hue, saturation, and lightness. If I turn on this lightness, you're going to see that it flattens out those colors. Well, the ranges. So your mid ranges and your shadows and your highlights, it flattens them out. It creates a lighter photo. It does exactly what it's supposed to, but it's not exactly the effect that we're looking for. And maybe it is, but that is the difference. These are the main differences between lightness and brightness. Alright, so there you guys have it. Again, lightness tends to flatten out, and it will flatten out all the color channels, unless you are working on individual color channels within this, which is like another tutorial. If you guys want me to do something else more specifically showing you guys how to be able to utilize that, let me know. Brightness, it gives a really clean job on just amping out those highlights and giving good contrast within your image without being too distractive. There you guys have it. Please subscribe to my channel, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Soon I'll have a what's it called? a YouTube, and my website will be up and running here soon, and a Vimeo. Whatever you guys think, let me know. I mean, let me know in your comments down below what you guys follow, and um, questions, comments, ideas. If I missed something, let me know. Thanks so much, you guys, for watching. We'll be back shortly with a new tutorial.